This is a story coming out of California. So in California, you have a California highway patrolman. So a person, a speed cop, a traffic cop is going to go intimidate a man named Ryan Wentz. Who is Ryan Wentz? W-E-N-T-Z. Who is Ryan Wentz? Ryan Wentz is ultimately a nobody. Ryan Wentz is a nobody. He's just a guy. He's a anti-war Twitter user. He's an anti-war Twitter user, and he had tweeted a pretty soft criticism of AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is supposed to be the most progressive representative, but she's actually the most ineffective representative. But apparently he had criticized AOC, and since he had dared to criticize an answer that AOC gave about Israel and Palestine, Capitol Police talked to California Highway Patrolman and sent the California Patrolman to his house. Now, the Twitter handle is @QueerAlamode. @QueerAlamode. You could just tweet him right now and ask this guy, Ryan Wentz, everything, what went down, what happened. There's, apparently several tweets that he made after this 2 days ago. He says this is Ryan Wentz. This is the guy that was targeted by AOC. He said, "This is completely outrageous. I was visited by 2 police at my home over a harmless tweet about AOC. I felt scared, intimidated, and violated. They knew my name and where I live. It was done on behalf of a congresswoman who advocates against police state tactics." Well, that's the height of hypocrisy right there, is it not? So I assume this is the tweet they're talking about, where I lightly criticize AOC for a disappointing answer in response to a question about Palestine and Israel. And it is. All he says, though, is that her response was incredibly underwhelming, to say the least. Yeah, it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't like, hell yeah, this is our left-wing progressive champion that's going to stand up for the rights of the Palestinians. No, sirree, Bob. Is this our champion of the oppressed, or is this our oppressor? And I think that that's an important question to answer, because to continue to defend AOC means that you still have hope that the United States government is going to pass a law or do some certain thing that's going to help save America. And I don't have any such silly notions as that.
Hi everyone, I'm Anya Parmpill, and this is Red Line.
Hi, Anya.
California police recently paid a visit to the home of anti-war activist Ryan Wentz, claiming he threatened the life of Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when he authored a tweet critical of her comments concerning Palestine. An April 7th tweet by Wentz went viral after he drew attention to a bizarre, jumbled response AOC gave during an event with the Jewish Community Relations Council. Here's how AOC responded when asked about how she believes.
So we're going to listen to that tweet. We're going to see what that, video. We're going to listen to that answer that AOC gave. Since this is an underwhelming answer, this is an underwhelming response to the Palestine question. Well, let's see what she had to say. Let's see what she had to say about Palestine. Let's see if the little tiny light criticism that @QueerAlamode gave to AOC is, correct or not. So, okay, AOC, what do you think about Palestine? Let's hear you.
The Israelis and Palestinians could be achieved.
What actions do you think can be taken to support movements towards peace, both between Israelis and Palestinians, as well as within the entire region, such as the Abraham Accords?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so earlier just now, you and I were talking about the what and the how.
Yes.
And I think that when we talk about establishing peace, centering people's humanity, protecting people's rights, it's not just about the what and the end goal, which often gets a lot of focus, but I actually think it's much more about the how. And the way that we are coming together, and how we interpret that what, and how we act.
AOC, it's about the what and the how. It's about both, okay? So what we need for Palestine is we need a two-state solution. AOC is actually to the right of Joe Biden. Joe Biden just restored all those payments. I didn't remember AOC saying, let's get those payments back into the hands of the Palestinians. So they had cut, Donald Trump had cut the, we're paying both of the, through foreign aid, both Israel and Palestine gets American dollars, gets those greenback bucks. So AOC is targeting anti-war Twitter users. What's next? Anti-poverty YouTube users, anti-homeless Facebook users. And then when it comes to violence, right, Jimmy Dore, he had said violence because he said fuck you to AOC in a video when he was sitting in a garage in California. And that was, AOC said that this is violence. So she's the oppressor. She's the oppressor. You tweeted something I did not like about you, and now I just sent some jackbooted thugs out to you. Well, this is, quite sad and quite disappointing. What right now you have, the war on Palestine. That's okay. AOC is fine with the violence that Israel is putting down on Palestine. I just saw one story where this old man got kicked out of his house. He thought he'd get to stay, but, that's Palestine. It's been Palestine land, but the Israelis said that he had to go. And so they arrested, like, this 90-something-year-old man. Where the fuck is he going to go? He lived in his own homeland, but Israel says it's their land. So, and then the United States government, at the very least, our official policy is a two-state solution. At the very least. It don't even sound like it sounds like she is so far up Israel's ass that she doesn't want to answer this question because she's already sold the Palestinians out. She is so far up Israel's ass that it's going to be hard to bullshit this guy who's, probably wants to hear that the Palestinians are people too and that they deserve, since they're humans, they're deserving of human rights. And so far, let's see, does she say that the Palestinians are humans deserving of human rights? Does she say that we need a two-state solution? She's talking about the what, not the how. The fuck are you talking about? So you're not for a two-state solution, but you are for, saying hello every time you walk by? That's not good enough, being polite and nice and then allowing, the world to burn?
The actions that we take to get to that what. And so what this really is about is it's a question more than anything else about process. And so we really need to make sure that that we are valuing a process where all parties are respected and have, a lot of equal opportunity to really make sure that we are negotiating good faith, etc. That being said, I think that there's just this one central issue of settlement, because if the what that has been decided on is two states, then the action of settlement it's not the how to get to that what. And so, I think that that's a central thing that we need to make sure that we center and that we value Jewish and rather we value.
Okay, so the answer turned out to be a little bit better than I had hoped for. So what she was saying is that the what is a two-state solution. So Israel, you're not trying to help us get to the two-state solution. You're putting settlements on Palestinian land. So she is on the correct side, or she's at least on the side of U.S. policy. She's at least consistent with, right-wing Joe Biden. This is hardly a progressive champion of the Palestinian rights, though. She can barely spit it out, right? She says the Jewish or the Israeli, and then
Israeli. We value the safety and the human rights of Israelis. We value the safety and the human rights of Palestinians in that process that is similar and that on equal footing. And so all of that is extremely important in that process.
The video was retweeted thousands of times, with Twitter users weighing in to lambast.
So a lot of people talked about that clip, and so Ryan Wendt, he has no content on his Twitter page about who he is, where he is, what he's doing. Now we know everything, right? So Ryan Wendt, he's getting a bunch of jackbooted thugs that's being sent out by AOC, a New Jersey congresswoman. They're able to get the Capitol Police to contact the California Highway Patrolman to basically go SWAT this guy. This guy could have fucking got beat up. This guy could have got shot up. It's almost, you know, in fact, I don't even know how he got, you know, like, I'm glad that he lived. I'm glad that Ryan Wentz, after being confronted with the California Highway Patrolman, is still walking around. I mean, my God, the idea of getting swatted is like you're playing video games and then, you know, the other guy had got a good move and he beat the guy and it made you mad and he told you to go to hell and he beat you or something and you're all pissed off about it. And then you call the police and you say that guy has a gun and is trying to shoot, and then they go to their house while he's playing video games, and then maybe the police actually do, you know, him harm, actually shoot him, arrest him. That's what swatted is. It's called getting swatted. And so if you tweet badly, if AOC does not approve of your tweet, then they're going to come to your house. These jackbooted Nazi thugs are going to come to your house. Is AOC going to be part of the book burning festival? What about the totalitarian fascist parade? Is she going to be marching in that? How about the goose stepping party? My God, for AOC, war in Palestine is fine and dandy, right? Okay, slightly talk about the settlements. So it looks like she was actually being nice. That quote, she was being nice to the Israelis. She was sitting there saying, if we agree on the two-state solution, which is, what's the other one, the one-state solution where they get to just take all the land? If we agree on the two states, then settlements does not get us there. No shit, settlements would be illegal. If you say that that's their country and then that's their country, then they steal their land, that's illegal. You can't go into another country and steal their land. So it was underwhelming. It wasn't to the right of Joe Biden, so that's better. At least we know that AOC is in favor of, we think, actually, it did seem like she was hedging a little bit, but AOC is for the two-state solution, and she said that the Israeli settlements prevent us from getting to the two-state solution, which she is correct about. She's right about. It's underwhelming, but she's correct. So I'll give credit where credit is due. It's not the worst, oh my God, you know, thing that I've ever heard AOC say. So it is crazy. The California Highway Patrolmen, they're going to verify the story, but they said that that the office of AOC had nothing to do with it, that Ryan Wentz was mentioned in a threatening statement. He was mentioned in a threatening statement. So somebody had threatened her, and they also mentioned Ryan Wentz, but they didn't say anything. You know, Ryan Wentz himself didn't say anything. So he just happened to be part of some crazed lunatic, psycho threatener, you know, a threatener, a person who threatens violence, a threatener. So when it comes to the state, they say they have a monopoly on violence, right? They have a monopoly on violence, and if the state, AOC, is going to define violence as any tiny soft criticism of her, that's insanity. They're going to send jackbooted thugs on every tiny little tweet. That's fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's like Big Brother is making us say AOC and Bernie Sanders are still progressives. Big Brother is telling us to say, yes, Joe Biden has a bold progressive agenda. Yeah, Joe Biden's first 100 days, overwhelming success. Okay, Google. Okay, Twitter. Okay, Facebook. Biden. Hell, Biden's the next FDR, is he not? You can't, that's the official. Biden is the next FDR, whether you like it or not. He is not a Calvin Coolidge. Sending jackbooted thugs out to people who tweet a soft tweet about the policy, that's fair game. That's fair game. Okay, fuck you. That might be a little bit scary, but I didn't like that answer. What did you just say? You could say, fuck you, but don't you dare. It chills free speech. And Calvin Coolidge. What was Calvin Coolidge's big quote was that the business of America is business. Even Calvin Coolidge's most famous quote is fucking boring as shit. So, Cameroon, there's occupation, U.S. occupation, 750 military bases, 14 colonies, So the U.S. empire, the U.S. state, they believe in violence overseas. They believe in violence on the domestic population. Cameroon, Somalia, those occupations are fine and dandy when it comes to AOC. You know, in AOC, that's much ado about nothing. What? Occupation? Who gives a coup d'etat in Venezuela? AOC is okay with the coup d'etat in Venezuela. And for the war on Palestine, she says, you know, it doesn't sound like, you know, hey, stop with the damn settlements. That's how AOC should have sounded like, hey, the damn settlements, fuck that settlement bullshit. We have a two-state, hey, Israel, we got a two-state agreement. We got a two-state agreement. We give you all this foreign aid. You're our buddy. You're our ally in the Middle fucking East. We have a two-state policy. Two-state agreement policy. Respect the fucking two-state. That's Palestinian land. That's their country. Stop stealing land from their country, Israel. Two-state solution. And we're not going to give you any money. We cut the Palestinians. Let's cut the Israelis. I bet you that'll straighten them up immediately. That would actually solve the goddamn problem. But instead, America's policy is a two-state solution, but what does Israel do? They mock us and they say, fuck you, America. You know, we're going to go ahead and take all the Palestinian land that we want to take. And like dumb fucks, we just sit here and let them do it. And it's even worse because they do it in our name. They do it in our name. So we know that the state, they'll make it, they have violence, right? They have a monopoly of violence. That's their whole thing is violence. My God, take away violence from the state. Well, then you don't even, what's the point of having a state? So, yeah, don't dare to challenge her about Medicare for all and her useless tactics. Don't you dare criticize AOC. She's the most progressive, maybe she's the most progressive in her ideology, but in terms of her effectiveness, she is the least effective. All the bills, everybody else's bills gets passed, but AOC, she writes a bill, it doesn't get passed, it goes nowhere. All that celebrity, she's a careerist, she's a celebrity, she's kissing Mama Bear's ass. Guess we're not going to put no pressure on the establishment. She is the establishment, and she's telling everybody, hey guys, Joe Biden's a progressive. Did you see that $1,400 check? But she did have that eyeball thing. Remember with that on the camera, how cute that was with the eyeball? So this does not bode well for the future of freedom of speech in America.
Issue for any progressive-minded person. Though Wentz made no reference to violence, police showed up at his doorstep on April 8th, insisting he threatened to kill AOC. Wentz spoke to the Gray Zone about his experience.
So it was actually during the day. I had gotten back from work and was just outside my apartment, and I was waiting for a Postmates order, and I saw two officers dressed in plain clothes.
This is at Queer a la Mode. This is the man. This is Ryan Wentz, and he just seems white male, blue eyes, glasses, skinny, has a very simple setup in his bedroom, parts his hair nice, has nice hair, seems like he's got a kind face, demeanor.
Their heads out above the gate, the front gate, and they said my name, which was very weird. And so I approached them, and they showed me their badges, and they asked if they could come inside, and I said, no, we can talk out here. So I went around the gate, and
more coming up.